Food. When it comes right down to it, we all gotta eat. But did you know while we snack away on chips and chocolate bars, that all around us are living things that require just the basics of sunlight, water, and air? Now that's what I call a diet. I'm Anna Gibson, computer wizard. Give me a mouse and a modem and I'm set. But today, give me a shovel, 'cause digging in dirt is the only way to get to the root of plant life in action. The mystery was photosynthesis, and I gotta tell you guys, I was clueless. I mean, my idea of a great photosynthesis was my lab partner Jack Snyder's head.
Hey, what's up?
On the body of a spider. Now that's a beautiful synthesis of photos. For a joke, I sent Jack Snyder's spider off to my dad's best friend, Dr. Quentin Fig, internet genius and all-around smart guy.
Ah, yes, Jack would make a fine arachnid.
Interference from Dr. Fig's laboratory was making his video stream Glitch City. But he was so excited, he didn't even notice.
Even more exciting than your synthesized photo is the real photosynthesis, the fantabulous way that plants use the energy of the sun to make food. Where would we be without photosynthesis? Our very past, nay, our very future, depends on it.
Whoa, I had no idea that photosynthesis was such a big deal. Our past, our future. Food! I needed to know more. I started with the dictionary. I know, very low tech, but effective. Turns out, photo really means light, as in sunlight, and synthesis means to put things together to make something new. In this case, food. But what did sunlight and making food have to do with our past and future?
Let's start with the past. Have you tried searching for algae?
Algae? That slimy stuff? I checked in with my friend Artie out in the wetlands. He never seems to mind getting right into the thick of things. According to Art, some bacteria like blue-green algae are photosynthetic, just like plants are. In fact, it was bacteria that first captured the energy of the sun nearly 3.5 billion years ago.
In those days, Earth didn't have what you'd call a pleasant atmosphere. Nope, it was more poisonous than an LA freeway at rush hour because there was no oxygen. But photosynthesis changed all that. As a byproduct of the process, oxygen is released. The next thing you know, give or take a few 100 million years, there's oxygen-breathing critters running all over the place.
Whoa! Without photosynthesis, there'd be no oxygen-breathing critters, like me, for instance. Kinda takes my breath away. I was beginning to understand just how important photosynthesis is, but I still didn't have a clue how it happened. Dr. Fig suggested I take a closer look at a leaf for some of the answers. Would you believe there are several layers of cells in this skinny thing? And you can bet that each layer has its own name, which I have to memorize. And to make it really easy, the names are all in Greek.
It's not that bad, Anna. Think of the leaf as a sandwich. The outer layer, called the epidermis, is like the bread.
It protects the inside where all the good stuff is.
Right. And like bread, the epidermis isn't a solid surface. Especially on the bottom, it's full of little holes called stomata. The leaf's inside layers are called the mesophyll.
That's easy to remember, because meso means middle, and you can think of the fill as the sandwich filling.
The mesophyll's upper, or palisades layer, is filled with chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are what set plants apart from most every other living thing because they house chlorophyll, the green pigment that traps sunlight. Chloroplasts and chlorophyll, the engine of the green machine, that makes photosynthesis possible.
Nice leaf, digital girl. But could you break that down for me one more time?
Sure, Pest, if you promise to make like a tree in the leaf. The outside layer is the epidermis. It has a bunch of little microscopic openings in it called stomata. The inside layers are the mesophyll. In the mesophyll are the chloroplasts. And in the chloroplasts is the
Chlorophyll, part of the green machine that makes photosynthesis possible.
Yeah, well, if the doc was right, and a plant was a green machine, then there was something I didn't understand.
I was, of course, shocked by this revelation.
How exactly does chlorophyll plug into the sun's energy?
Good question, Mr. Snyder. It works rather like a battery. Chlorophyll absorbs light and transforms it into chemical energy. Then it's stored in an energy-rich molecule called ATP.
So, for a plant to get a good charge, it needs a place in the sun. Hey, what happens to a plant that lives far away from the sun? Say, underwater? How's it gonna get its daily dose of light? Mondo Bizarro, my friends! I hijacked Anna's computer to check in with Kelly at the beach. She told me that one ocean-loving plant, kelp, races to the surface to catch some rays. Some kinds of kelp grow as much as 30 centimeters a day. That's way bigger than my whole foot. We're talking mondo growth spurt. When the plant makes it to the top, the first thing it does is spread out its leaves, which are called fronds. And check out this action. To keep its place in the sun, kelp grows its own little water wings, floats that are filled with gas. For kelp and Kelly, life's a beach.
After taking my rightful place back at my computer, I told Jack that lots of plants have come up with cool ways of adapting to their own special environments. In places like Vermont, where the summers are warm and there is plenty of rain, the chlorophyll works overtime, giving us the green mountains. But the drier, colder days of fall tell the trees that it's time to shut down the green machine and get ready for winter. At the stem of each leaf, a little layer of cork forms, cutting off its water supply. Then the chlorophyll breaks down altogether, and presto changeo, the green goes away, leaving a rich variety of other colors in the leaf.
That's some light show.
Impressive, but light is only part of the equation.
Well, sure. A plant cannot live by light alone. We all know it needs rain too. But how does water contribute to photosynthesis?
It provides one of the molecules that plants combine to make food.
Oh, we're getting to the synthesis part.
Correctamundo. Water is sucked up by the roots and carried through the stem to the plant's leaves. There, the water is split into its component parts, 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen.
Whoa, atomic, dude.
Right on, dude. The hydrogen is a building block for sugar, but the oxygen is used by other plant parts or discarded into the air.
It's expelled through the tiny openings, which we talked about earlier, called stomata. A single opening is called a stoma. Stoma is another one of those Greek words. It means mouth, and like your mouth, a stoma can open and close. The stomata are controlled by guard cells, which are triggered by water. When the plant is bone dry, the guard cells straighten out like thin lips clamped tight. When the leaf is full to the brim, the guard cells swell up and the stoma is opened. And one thing that comes out is water vapor.
It's called transpiration.
In a single summer night, a grassy football field can lose nearly 3,000 liters of water. That's like 30 bathtubs full.
Cool. Stuff is going in and out of leaves.
Yeah, just like you keep coming in and out of my report, Jack.
Hey, don't shut me out. I've got some vital information for you. When we breathe in, we inhale the O2, the oxygen that plants give off. And when we breathe out, we spew the CO2, which is the carbon dioxide the plants all need. What's the matter, Anna? Didn't you think I could figure it out?
Actually, I thought the Spider-Man was a genius. He'd come up with the other raw material needed for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide.
You've reached the second step in photosynthesis.
We can turn out the lights. For the second part, no light is needed.
Using the energy stored in the ATP, carbon dioxide is separated into oxygen and carbon.
Carbon is the basis of the glucose molecule, which is a form of sugar. This extraordinary chemical transformation is called the Calvin cycle,
So, in the first part of photosynthesis,
which requires light.
chlorophyll traps the sun's energy. Then it splits the H2O into its two parts, hydrogen and oxygen. The oxygen is set free for us to enjoy.
Then, in the second part of photosynthesis,
which does not require light.
the stored energy combines the hydrogen and carbon dioxide into carbohydrates like glucose.
And you know what glucose means.
Sugar. We're talking plant food. Hey, Anna, you want to go get something to eat?
Well, sure, Jack.
Yes. You got any money?
Ugh! Snyder!
Oh, would you look at this. They've figured out the largest, most complex manufacturing process on the planet. Photosynthesis. How sweet it is.
Now what do plants need sugars for? The same things you and I need them for. Energy to carry out all of life's processes, including reproduction and growth. Our unused sugars are changed into fat, but plants can save them as sugars, starches, or oils in their roots, stems, leaves, or fruit.
Whenever it needs a boost, the plant converts the food back into energy in a process called respiration. It's a little like photosynthesis in reverse. A chemical reaction breaks the glucose molecules apart and releases the stored energy within.
If plants are full of food, I wondered what kind of chow was in this leaf.
I'd guess starch. During photosynthesis, that's what forms in most types of leaves. I've downloaded some instructions for you to do an experiment on it to find out.
Here comes an extra credit experiment. For this experiment, we needed a coleus plant, some black construction paper, paper clips, scissors, tweezers, and a hot plate with a small pot for boiling water.
And to supervise you boiling it, an adult, which would be me.
We also needed rubber gloves, an iodine solution diluted 20 parts water to 1 part iodine, and 100 milliliters of ethyl alcohol. First, we made a cardboard mask by cutting a hole the size of a nickel in the center. I told Jack to be careful with those scissors, 'cause you know I'm always concerned for his welfare. Then, we picked a leaf on the coleus plant and fastened the mask to the leaf with paper clips. That was the only place that photosynthesis would take place, and therefore, the only place that should end up with starch in it.
Then we put the plant on a sunny windowsill so it could charge up with sunlight.
After 2 days, it was time to see what our plant had cooked up. Jack removed the leaf and its stem from the plant. Next, I carefully unclipped the mask and placed the leaf in our pot of boiling water for 2 minutes.
That rids it of water-soluble pigments. Oh, and be very careful as you remove the hot leaf from the pot.
Next, it was time to give the leaf a nice, warm alcohol bath. We put it in a glass beaker of ethyl alcohol, then carefully placed the whole thing into the hot water in the pot. After soaking for a few minutes, something really weird happened to the leaf. It turned ghostly pale.
That's because you've removed all of the pigment or color from the leaf. Now, if starch is present, it will turn bluish-black when it comes into contact with iodine.
I took the leaf out of the alcohol and laid it out on a flat surface. Then, Jack dropped the iodine solution on the leaf. Sure enough, wherever the mask had let the sunshine in, the leaf turned black. Our leaf was producing food, but only where photosynthesis had occurred.
Whoa! That means without photosynthesis, there'd be no food. You're thinking, wouldn't affect my food. I avoid the green stuff anyway. Well, that burger used to be a cow, and the cow ate plants.
Even strict carnivores are ultimately dependent on plants for nourishment. If plants hadn't unlocked the secret of using the sun's energy to convert air and water into food, we'd all go hungry.
Let me break it down for you, as Mr. Snyder would say, one more time. Without plants, there would be too little oxygen to breathe and nothing to eat. Only with plants is life possible on Earth.
If plants can do that here, why can't they do it other places too? Like Mars, maybe.
Changing a planet's atmosphere by introducing plants is called terraforming. And it's not just the stuff of science fiction. Scientists think that plants could make a planet like Mars habitable for humans. Maybe in time for you to move there, Jack.
Ouch!
It's possible that photosynthesis could even help you get there, Mr. Snyder. Right now, some of my fellow scientists are studying new uses that are truly out of this world. At Arizona State University, Professor Devins Gust and his colleagues are developing methods for conducting photosynthesis artificially. During lengthy space missions, like your trip to Mars, artificial photosynthesis could help keep the air breathable. Mirroring the process of natural photosynthesis, it would exchange oxygen for the carbon dioxide the crew exhales, both on board your spaceship and in the space colony when you arrive. Plus, artificial photosynthesis could provide your ship with a clean, renewable fuel source. Of course, that kind of fuel would be welcome right here on planet Earth as well. Artificial photosynthesis could ultimately power almost anything currently running on fossil fuels, including cars, power plants, and your mom's gas range.
Wow! Who would have believed it? Some of today's most sophisticated technology is being focused on a process that was invented by bacteria and perfected by plants. Dr. Fig was right. Our past, present, and future depend upon the green machine, photosynthesis.
Wait, don't leave yet. You'll miss the pop quiz.
We'll make it quick. I'm starving.
Then you'll love question number 1. What do plants need to make food? A, bread and water. B, oxygen. C, sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide.
Bring on the lunch. The answer's C. Sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide are all that's needed for photosynthesis. Oxygen is what plants give off as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Question number 2. Tiny openings in the leaf epidermis are called A, holes, B, stomata, or C, guard cells.
B's correct. Stomata are the openings that let carbon dioxide in and oxygen and water vapor out. They're triggered by the guard cells. Question number 3. In what part of the leaf does photosynthesis occur? A, it doesn't. Photosynthesis happens in the stem. B, in the mesophyll. C, in the chloroplast.
Whoa, talk about your trick questions. C's the best answer, but the other ones aren't too terrible. Lots of plants have chloroplasts in their stem, and photosynthesis happens there too. And in the leaf, you find the chlorophyll in the mesophyll. So, no matter what you answered, score that one correcto mundo. Question number 4. How does a plant store its sugars? A, as starches. B, they don't. They use it up right away. Or C, in body fat.
Body fat? That's what people do with it. The answer for plants is A, of course.
And finally, question number 5. How does photosynthesis